Apple jelly, made from apples, sugar and a few cloves. Apple jelly is lovely on bread, and it goes quite well as a bit of taste to add to a bit of a rice pudding dessert. It is made from apples, sugar, drop of water and a few cloves for that extra bit of taste. Okay, the first step in the process is to give the apples a little bit of a wash. Just only really to knock off some dust and dirt. Right, then take the apples, and these apples are mainly windfalls. Some of them will have a little bit of bad bits, and we just water them and throw them into the pot. So I'll continue that. Sometimes I'm daring and I'll and send them flying across the room. And then sometimes I cut them into thirds. And that's it. As you know, there's nothing, don't worry about stalks. Don't worry about pips or seeds or anything, the whole lot goes in. Just basically get them cut to a point where they'll be boiled to a pulp. Any little bad bits, nah, don't worry about. Big bits are bad, get rid of. Just keep cutting away until they're done. Okay, there is a pretty full pot. Don't go too high with the pot because you will have problems. So now I'm just adding a small drop of water to just get to nearly covering up the apples. And we'll fill away. And you can see just coming up now. And that's enough. Next thing I'm going to get is cloves. And here I have a small quantity of cloves which I'm just going to throw in. Let's give them a little mush around. Now the pot is on the ring to high. Bring that to an initial boil, and then we'll wind it down to just simmer away for about an hour. Now the pulp has started to come to a boil, so now I'm just backing it off to a simmer and putting the cover back on. As you can see, it just was a little late and got a little bit of a boil over. Now leave that simmering away, I'd say, for about another half an hour to quarters of an hour to make it into a good pulp. This is my straining setup. As you can see, I'm using a folding stepladder to support the straining bag. The straining bag is a piece of muslin tied up at four corners with knots, and then a bowl underneath to catch the strained liquid. Transferring, I'm now going to transfer from the pot to the straining bag. And it goes. Now, just taking it with a ladle from the and into this. Don't be too rough putting it in. And then when it is straining, do not disturb it. If you start pressing on the pulp while it's straining, you will end up with a cloudy apple jelly. So it's a matter of being gentle at this stage in the process. Now, straining bag filled up, straining pot getting filled away. Now the best thing to do is to go off, have a cup of tea, go do a bit of shopping and leave it there for maybe 2-3 hours. Now the drip rate is very slow. The pulp is looking dried out. Do not ever push it down or squeeze it or anything like that. The most that you should do to it is just catch it a little bit like this, give it a little roll. Just a little roll like that. But never push things into to try and squeeze more juice out, or you will end up with a very cloudy apple jelly. Now the next stage is to use a jug to measure out the liquid for its sugar. Now I have marked as 1.25 litres, the little red line. So there we go, 1.25 litres. That goes in. For every 1.25 litres, in goes 1 bag of sugar. That is a 1 kilogram bag of sugar. One empty bag. We measure again. I don't think we're going to get to it. Right, we got it. 800. Right, so 800 to 1250, that's roughly 2/3. So, in goes this. In goes 2/3 of a bag of sugar. There's already some sugar gone out of this, so I'm just leaving a small bit of sugar in this. That is as accurate as I go with my sugar measuring. Now, the heat is on, it's on high, and at this point I'm just going to stir it to get that sugar to dissolve. Here we are getting the sugar to dissolve, and heat is on high. As you can see, the pot is less than half full. That's enough. This when it starts boiling will rise quite high in the pot, because to get to a good setting point you do need to boil rapidly. I have set the oven to 80 degrees to preheat my jam jars. Jam jars loaded for preheating. Other things to note here is I actually have a jam thermometer. This is useful to see how close you are in getting to the boiling point, and just keeping it at the boiling point. Now that is just coming up the heat now. If you have any distractions that you need to dispose of, do it now, because when boiling point comes you have to stay with it for 25-30 minutes whilst the rapid boil is happening. Also here I have a bowl with a wooden spoon, which the spoon was used to stirring, but as it heats up and starts coming to the boil, a scum will start to form on the top of the juice, and use the spoon and to scoop the scum into that will allow you to have a lot clearer jelly at the end of the day. Also ready here is my little jam funnel. Very useful item, saves an awful lot of messing. The next item of use here is a couple of spoons. These spoons are to go with, in here in the freezer there are some saucers. These saucers have been chilled for when it comes to finding the setting point. I will explain now why the setting point is, because this is not near yet. The setting point, which will occur about 20 to 25 minutes after it starts rapid boiling, is that point you want for when the jam will actually cool down into a solid jelly. So every so often after about 20 minutes I will take the spoon, dip it in, take out a drop, pour it onto the saucer, the chilled saucer, and watch how tacky it is. I'll just touch it with the tip of my finger. If it just runs off my finger, it's not there yet. And if it is sticks and makes a little peak with my finger, I know I am at the setting point. And then I go and pot the jelly. Now some scum is starting to form, and I just come along and I just rake it off and just push it into the bowl. Do that every couple of minutes as it's coming up to the boil. That'll allow you to have a lot clearer jelly at the end of the day. Okay, rapid boil has now started. This will rise even to harder boil because it still has to come up another 2 or 3 more degrees C. So I find the best way to control the rapid boil, because it will head for overflowing the pot fairly quickly, is to do it by a method of simply lifting the pot, letting it go down a little bit, and then put it back on the heat. Never letting the rapid boil actually stop, but just letting it just calm down a small bit. At this point, just have a note of the time and note when it will be about 20-25 minutes from the time you are now. Now this is coming up, so I'm just going to do a little lift, let it come back a bit, and then back down again. For these 20-25 minutes, have your phone on silent and do not move away from the pot, or you will have one big gooey sticky mess. Now as you can see, it's starting to rise up, so I'm just going to lift it off, let it calm down a bit, and then back on the heat. As I say, it never actually comes off the rapid boil. So I'll just watch it again now. You'll see it rising up again now in a sec. It is vital that this rapid boil is kept going continuously if you want to achieve a good solid setting apple jelly. As you can see, up it comes again. It is very hard to regulate the heat accurate enough. You know, I have wound the heat back from 6 to 5 and this, but if you try and adjust to keep the boil constant on the heat, it is very hard to do. So I find the easiest way is to do it, regulate it by eye, and just gently lift off. And back on again. I've just backed it off the heat a bit. I'm getting out the first of my chilled saucers, the first of my spoons, and I'm taking a drop out and dropping it on the saucer to see what it does. Now I'll have to wait for it to cool a bit. That spoon has now gone in the sink. Put it on the heat, getting rid of a bit of the scum. Just have a quick look at the temperature. The temperature has gone down a bit, so it'll come back up again. Now, a check of the set. That only needs about another minute of a boil. As you can see, it's not really, it's still flowing a bit, but it's nearly there. So just give this about another minute of a boil. A quick look at the temperature here. 105 degrees is marked on this thermometer as your jam setting temperature, and that's the temperature that you need to have the rapid boil happening at. Right, another test. Some of the scum. spoon. It's just to and now we'll pour it on the saucer. In the sink. Another little bit. Yeah, well, another minute has gone by. We'll go for another check on it. Another spoon. Let it cool a bit. Check it with the finger. Oh, lovely peak. You can, if I don't know, yes. I'm going to pot on that now. So, off the heat, get rid of the last bit of scum. Now, as you can see, we have a pretty clear liquid there ready for potting. I will now get out 2 jars at a time using my little mitts. Now I'll pour this one in. Try and do it as gentle as possible. Come back. Overfill there a little bit. Just limited. Cover on. Cover on. The finished product, a perfectly clear jam or jelly. As you can see, guys are. Yeah. Here is the jar which got the last of it, and as you can see, it has set. But you can see, look, it's still wobbly like a jelly. Why do I make apple jelly? My mother made it for years and years and years, and I helped her all the time. So it is just a little memorial tribute to my mother that I make apple jelly with apples from Patrick every year.